I'm Matt Willis, Public Health Officer with a COVID-19 update for December 30th, 2022. I'd like to focus on some recent changes in the virus that might impact our community and new variants that have hit Marin in the last couple weeks that may set the stage for 2023. The reason we track variants is this. Remember, our experience of the pandemic can be summed up in three things. First is the virus itself, how it's changing, and how infectious new variants are and whether they cause severe illness. Second is our immune systems and how well they fight off the virus as it changes. And this is mainly determined by our past infections and whether we're up to date with vaccinations. And third is our behaviors, like face covering, testing, or getting treated when we're sick. And it's the interplay between these three things, the virus, our immune status, and our behaviors, that determines our risk individually and as a community. Our greatest asset in our community has been that we have, by and large, taken good advantage of the things we have control over. We're coming out of 2022 with some of the highest vaccination rates for all age groups in the state, and as a result, some of the lowest hospitalization rates and death rates. But to focus on the virus itself, here's the current concern. In the past 2 weeks in Marin, we've seen the occurrence of new variants of concern. The names, as you know, are kind of tricky because they're letters and numbers, but I want to share some of these with you because we may be referring to these as we go. Remember, through summer and early fall, it was all the BA.5 variant. And then in November, we started seeing more BQ, and it looked like this was going to be the new dominant strain. But now, over the past 2 weeks, we're seeing a rapid rise in a new strain called XBB, along with about 10 other strains actively circulating. So as 2022 draws to a close, we're seeing a wide diversity of strains circulating in our community. This makes predicting our 2023 experience more challenging, because each may behave slightly differently with regards to our immunity, how infectious it is, and how severe an illness it may cause. So far, XBB looks to be similar to BA.5, although maybe slightly higher infectivity, and the new bivalent booster does offer good protection against serious illness with XBB. When we look at changes in the virus, it's important to have a global view. The evolution of the virus has accelerated partly because of what's happening in China, where radical swings in policy from full lockdown to fully open have led potentially up to 1 billion people to be newly infected over a short period of time. This is an unfortunate recipe for more variants to emerge. This also reminds us that a pandemic requires a coordinated global response, since nowadays we're all connected in a single global ecology. Again, it's too early to say what this increase in the number of circulating variants or the presence of XBB means to us. While we don't necessarily need to remember the names, it's important to remember the principles of how virus changes. Looking back, every major surge has been driven by a new variant that has been more infectious than the prior, and it moves through the community like a wave, especially if it's able to better evade our immune response, like Omicron. So while the uncertainty remains, we're fortunate to have tools to assess variants within Marin as they emerge and to adapt our strategies. The most important take-home is this. The virus is still unpredictable, case rates are rising, new variants are emerging, and it's hard to forecast 2023. One piece of good news is that flu and RSV rates appear to be declining. So the triple-demic seems to be resolving, while COVID-19 rates do increase. What we do know with certainty is that the measures we use throughout the pandemic against COVID-19 are protective. It's important that we continue to use the tools we've been given to stay open to the possibilities that we'll need to adapt to a new strain. Right now, the most important tool is the vaccine. So as 2022 comes to an end, we can celebrate the progress we've made and feel confident we have what it takes to thrive through the next chapter of this pandemic. Thank you for doing your part.